project.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around South Jersey. I'm Jim Quinn, and with me is a good friend of mine, Bobby McQuade. And Bobby, it's an interesting day for you today because I didn't realize today is the Millville City Commission meeting. Tell everybody what's happened today.
Well, today Commissioner Watson takes his seat from his win, and I wish him the best of luck. Today they've got a lot of activities going on that agenda, so I know they had a closed work session with some companies that will be coming out the airport.
That's good news. So
this will be a great opportunity for him. He did say he doesn't like the limelight, so we'll see how Steve handles it.
In fact, this is amazing. I have to tell you the truth. I've known Bobby for many years, since at least 1997 when I got to be mayor, because you were a special one then, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, you knew me longer than that. You had auction time, and I used to buy
all kinds of stuff. Oh, that's right. You used to come in as a customer. So when he was a little boy, I knew him from that. But it was interesting because I got to tell you, and the one thing that's frustrated me since that is Bobby and Lance Kohler, in particular, were the two specials that I could count on. They were there at the library. Any place you needed them, they were there, and they did a great, great job. And for some reason, we lost a lot of special ones, Bob, during that period of time.
Right.
We also had the guy that's the head of animal control.
That's Anthony Sills. He's actually a lieutenant for the specials. And at one time you had Tim Patrick, who was the captain for the specials, but he was also a dispatcher.
Right.
Yes. They said they had to reduce the force. First it was due because of Class 1s don't carry guns.
Understand.
So they reduced that force because they were afraid of shootings that could hurt the officers. But they had a few Class 2s, but they ended up doing court. So now they're looking at bringing back some Class 1s.
Yeah.
And they might bring them back. They might reach out to the shore, like Ocean City, Wildwood, and see if those officers would be willing to branch down here to help us out throughout the winter, get used to the city, and possibly for the summer.
Yeah, it would be wonderful because they are already trained, which is really nice to be able to have. And in fact, already you've gotten a compliment. If you'd like to message us, you can. Louis Serrano said we need people like Bobby in Vineland.
Thank you.
It is, and then I'll tell the mayor of Vineland because he's a good friend of mine too. But let's talk about you growing up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Millville. I was born here in Millville Hospital when we actually had a hospital in Millville.
Yeah.
1965. My parents moved here from Wimber, Pennsylvania, which is near Pittsburgh.
Okay.
They came here for the job opportunities. At that time, Millville, because I asked them, I said, how did you find out about the job opportunities here? And they said that Millville actually put ads in all the newspapers in the tri-state areas.
I see.
And they came here for the knitting factory that was Murbach's in Bridgeton. My dad worked there.
Right.
The glass houses drew a lot. So when they moved here, they moved to Arlene Village, which was Millville Gardens. They lived there for probably a year. My godparents were George Fitzgerald and
kidding.
Yeah.
Margaret?
Margaret.
Oh,
yes.
My God, I love them. They were super people.
They lived right across the street. Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's neat.
And now, and then we moved away to 9th Street. We moved to 9th Street 3 between Mulberry and Vine. Lived there until 1987, and then they bought a house out towards Union Lake. So,
that's where you because Mom and Dad just passed away, right?
Yes, they just passed away at COVID, actually 6 days apart in January.
That had to be horrible.
So it's been a rough year.
Sure has.
Dealing with my because my wife is pretty sick right now too with her lung problems.
Sorry to hear that. Wow.
But it was an interesting year, but a tragical year at the same time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry because I kept looking at it going, oh my God, and you're getting sworn in, and Mom and Dad are
in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly, with COVID. It's been a tough time. So backing up a little bit, Bob, so you were living on 9th Street when you started going to school. Where was the first school you went to?
Well, actually, I went to St. Mary's until I was in 5th grade.
Oh, did you? So did I. But I went there till 8th grade. That's great.
And my mother got into an argument with a nun, so she decided.
You can't win those.
No, my mother was very tough, so she decided to pull me out.
I see.
And my first public school was Holly Heights.
Oh, you had a good one.
Yes. But I was a little nervous walking in there because the kids could walk around and be more free than what you are in the Catholic parochial school. So, but I kind of fell into place after a year being there. So then I went from there, and then I went to Rick Avenue for 7th grade, bounced back to Holly Heights for 8th.
Okay.
And then I went to the junior high and the senior high, and graduated there in 1984.
Gotcha. So after you graduated, I know where you went, and I'm excited because I worked here too. I told Bobby I worked the same place. Tell him where you went.
I started, actually, my mom had the job prepared for me before I even walked off the field. We were supposed to go out and celebrate graduation. She said, well, you can't be out late because you're going to be working. And I said, where? She says, Acme Markets. You'll be working at Acme Markets. I was like, wow, thank you. I thought I could get the whole summer off, but that didn't happen. So then I worked there, and then I ended up working at Raritan Engineering.
Wow.
1986, I went to Raritan Engineering. So I worked for Acme and Raritan Engineering. I did 2 jobs.
Not surprised.
And then in 1989, I resigned from there, from both places, and December of 89, and I moved on to the 177th Fighter Wing as civil engineer.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Assistant.
That's great. It's a great job. How many years were you there?
From 89 to 2011 until I got retired out with injuries.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sorry about the injuries, but that's great. What a great career that you've had
it was
in
fun.
that period of time. Yeah. I got to ask you. It
was interesting to see all the planes.
I got to believe your mom and dad were great workers.
They were.
I have a theory. I had a person that worked for me, and my dad had 2 people that worked for him from the Western Pennsylvania. The best workers I had ever seen. Their work ethic, I guess because of the coal mines or the steel mills or whatever, was just outstanding. So anybody from Western Pennsylvania. In fact, I remember, this is funny too, when I was a county freeholder, I had a fella, George, I forget his last name, but he came to me. He was from Western Pennsylvania. He went to Owens, Illinois, in Bridgeton, and worked there. And then he was like semi-retired, and he came to work for the county. And oh my God, he worked circles around everybody. He was just an amazing worker. And I really admire that. And I admire that with you and Mike too. And sometime we'll have you and Mike back on, Mike Wilden, who works with you. But you guys have always been dedicated workers. I mean, I never saw you taking breaks. You were always on the job. And I always felt good about you being there, you and Lance in particular. You sort of teamed up. And of course, Lance had the brawn. You had the brains. So it worked out nicely. But I really appreciate it. And boy, you know, Bobby, it's funny how time flies. I just had Jeff Trout, Jimmy Parent, Joe Dorella on with me. We did a 25th reunion of when we got elected in 1997. And it's funny because I remember you and Lance and all the different guys. And Jeff was the public safety director, but I was his backup. So a lot of times he have games and things. So in fact, Ray Morales said to me one time, he said, Mayor, why don't you do some ride-alongs and see what the police officers go through? And that was
I remember
priceless.
You doing that.
That was great. I saw some really good workers and really dedicated. And what the officers and you too had to go through, the verbal abuse and threats and things like that. Now, of course, you have body cameras and all, which helps a lot. Then they didn't. And, you know, somebody can make an accusation and all that kind of stuff. I got to tell you a funny story. It was probably 2000. And one of the ministers, a young man was killed. I think it was on Mulberry Street. I don't know if you happened to be there. But he was killed. It was probably a drug deal. They went right in his house, shot and killed him. So one of my minister friends said to me, Jim, would you come out as the mayor to the candlelight vigil we're going to have at the young man's house? There's a porch. I said, sure, I'll be out. So I went out and expressed my condolences to the young man's mother and sister. And I proceeded to say the following, which is the way I believe. I said, anyone, in my opinion, possessing an illegal gun should do 3 to 5 years in prison.
Right.
Well, I got done. I come off the steps, and I think it was Junior Duffield came over to me, put his arm on my shoulder. He said, hey, Mayor, half the people you just said that to are packing. I went, oh, my God, you're kidding. He said, no, I'm not kidding. And I went, whoa. And then in school, I was telling the story in a history class, and one of the students in the back, a big guy, he raised his hand, and he said, hey, Mayor, you live where I live, you'd want to have a gun. I said, I understand what you're saying, but two wrongs don't make a right. But I didn't realize that, Bob. And then I heard the prosecutor talking about the Bloods and the Crips, all those things, and to you and Lance's credit, you had to deal with that without the gun. You know, I mean, that really, hopefully they didn't send you out there too often to keep you at the library and downtown and things like that.
Well, they used to tell us they knew we didn't have guns, so they weren't going to mess with us.
Yeah.
And we usually kept the areas under control pretty well.
Remember Dottie Wilkerson?
Dottie Wilkerson. I remember her.
Little Dottie.
Dottie would go out there too and just push them along and everything.
She was about 4'6". She was a sweetheart.
She was tough.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she? She did a great job.
Yes.
I'd forgotten about that. And, you know, the walks we would do.
The Dottie walks.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They were the great days.
They were, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
They truly were. And, you know, it was... So what did you, out of your entire career, you know, what did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed the police work.
Yeah.
I like that.
Even you were good with people.
Yeah. The reason I took Class 1 was because I could have been Class 2, but I had took too much time off of my schedule with the air base. So you could go to Class 1 at night.
Right, exactly.
Chief Herman asked me one time, he said, why didn't you become a full-timer? I said, well, Bill, I was in special ed classes when I was in school. And
who was your teacher?
I had Darlene Cates and Diane Ewings, Mr. Killian. I had those guys. So, luckily, in the 70s in grammar school, we actually had computers.
No
we
kidding.
were learning. The special ed kids got them.
Wow.
So we learned how to do the cash registering, doing cash registering on an electrical computer.
So that's why you were good at the Acme.
Yeah. Well, what funny is I went into Acme and I was all ready to do it because I figured, well, I know how to do the electrical one. But then they had the old-fashioned one that you pushed a button and a little flag came. I said, this is from the Waltons. Where did you get this from?
That's what I had when I was there in the 60s.
and the buttons, you hit it, and it gets stuck in the drawers when they had to hit them. And I was like, look, I'll do stock the floor. I don't want to mess with them.
Yeah. I used to do stocking the floor. In fact, it was funny. I don't think the manager liked me too much. On a Saturday, we were where the city hall is now, and next to what is the dentist office there, there was an alleyway, and they would back the tractor and trailer in with all the stuff on it.
Right.
So this is like, say, a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Well, I don't know about you guys. We had to wear a white shirt, black tie, black khakis or something like that. So they'd say, Quinn, you get up in a truck. So I would get up there and take the shirt off, so I had my T-shirt and that and apron and stuff on. Well, Bob, I would do that in the summer especially, and I fed 5 people. I had to put all the stuff up on the rollers and get it down into the basement of the Acme. So I get done, and it's around noontime. So you'd think the manager would let me go home and take a shower and come back. Quinn, you go get on the register. And I'm standing there, Bob, and it's air conditioned inside. I'm perspiring like crazy because I just got done doing that. And I was like, oh my God! I said, I don't know what I did. And I used to clean the toilets, used to do all the stuff, the stocking,
the milk,
shelves,
and everything else.
Exactly. But you know what? I met some really nice people there, and it was a great start. My first job was working on chicken.
Was there a lady there when you worked there named Alice?
Do you know her last name?
I can't remember her last name. There was Alice.
Betty was there.
Betty was there when I was there.
Betty Nusky. Yes. She was up here and down there.
Yes.
Yeah, she was one of the originals with me down there. And then I know she went up to the High Street location. But, in fact, Terry Pangburn, Lord rest his soul, he and I used to talk about, he worked at the A&P and I worked at the Acme. So we were talking
competition.
about. Yeah, we were. Well, some wonderful lady that I think you know and I know, who also does wonderful things for the city. Mary Messick said, thank you for all you do for our city.
Well, thank you, Mary, and thank you for what you do, too, with the crime watch and everything you do in the Center City area.
I remember Mary back at Arlene Village, Millville Gardens, when she was very active there as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she told me that's when she got started.
Yeah, I remember her and her husband there, and she's done a great job and cares about the community, and thank you, Mary, for all you do. And I know she's been a good friend to you, to Joe Pepitone, to a lot of my friends.
She's a big help.
She really is. And thank you, Mary, for all that you do as well.
I used to call her Junior Dottie.
Anyway, we're talking with Bob McQuade, and we're going to talk about his school board, talk about his political career, and all those things right after these messages.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
When you want delicious food made from scratch soups and locally sourced ingredients, you head to Larry's 2 on Main Road in Vineland, New Jersey. Family owned and operated, Larry's 2 boasts one of the area's only salad bars with a great selection of fresh vegetables, rolls, dressings, and more. In their cafe, enjoy a piping hot cup of your favorite beverage made by one of their skilled baristas. Their complimentary Wi-Fi allows Larry's 2 to be the meeting destination with a friend or small group. They also offer banquet rooms that can accommodate 10 to 120 guests for any occasion. Open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Call Larry's 2 today at 856-692-9001. Larry's 2 Restaurant and Cafe, located at 907 North Main Road in Vineland, New Jersey.
I'm Brian Lankin, third generation business owner, Al Shoes. Been at the same location since 1961, our 61st year. We specialize in work boots, work shoes, orthopedic shoes, baby walking shoes, and school shoes. We go up to a men's 17 and a woman's 13. It's $5 off 25 and 10 off 100 if you mention that you've seen this.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Former City Commissioner Bob McQuade is with us. You were commissioner till this morning, I guess, right, Bob?
Yeah, till this morning, yes.
And then Stephen Watson got sworn in. And anybody that knows Stephen, tell him I'd love to interview him if he would like to come on sometime. I really haven't had the honor of knowing him or meeting him. And I have to tell you, I was totally shocked that he beat Bobby, because Bobby's been on the school board. Even Bob, when you were running against me and my group, I had a group of 5, Joe Pepitone, Bruce Cooper, and Quan Bowleg, and anyway, we were the 5 of us, and you were doing really well. I'm watching the results, and obviously it wasn't a good year for Democrats, and I'm watching the results, and Bobby and I are vying for 5 and 6 on the results, and honestly, I was hoping you would win, because I thought, you know what, I've had enough, and none of my people would have been there. And the only person, well, I shouldn't say that, but anyway, that's the way sort of I felt. But then I ended up getting 4th because of the early votes or whatever came in, and it pushed me up to the 4th spot. But then with all the business things I had going on, and family things happening, and all, I just realized it's enough, Jim. You've 33 and a half years. It's time to give it to somebody else to do. I had a wonderful 12-year period from 97 to 2009 as the mayor. We had a lot of things I'm proud of that we accomplished, and thank you to you and Lance, and I keep Anthony Sills, you 3 were always there. And I really got to know the police officers well doing the ride-alongs, and that's the other thing. Talk about time flying by. I see Larry Mulford, who I loved riding with. He has such a great sense of humor. And he's retired. Junior's retired. Eddie Zadroga's going to retire pretty soon, 'cause I guess once his wife, who's a lieutenant, retires and stuff. But all these guys, it's like, wow. And then Jody, I guess, is retiring, I was told.
Jody, yeah, he's retiring. I think it's January 1st.
Okay. And I really like Jody as well.
He's been taking some of his sick time and stuff off. So,
yeah, which is understandable.
Which will be Ross Hoffman, I do believe, will be the next chief.
Well, I know Ross's mom and dad. His mom worked for me at the ARC, Mary, and we went to St. Mary's together. His dad's a great guy, and he has
a good brother named Jeff.
Well, you know what? Jeff was at the Acme, and I used to say to Jeff all the time, he was going to go be a policeman, and then he did, and then he moved over to Human Resource
Resource Police.
Right, yes, as well. But what a super guy he is, and Ross is such a nice man. He has a good personality, so that's good for the city.
Yeah, he was in with Harry Kramer at the time. He was in community policing, and I was out there with him too.
Okay, right.
So Ross is pretty good with the public. He'll listen to you and see what you have to say.
Right.
So now that Jody's going to be retiring out, I do think that Commissioner Kurt Hewitt has some big plans coming up.
Okay.
With Ross, we'll probably see more officers. I believe he's going to be trying to get, like I said, the Class 1s and Class 2 from the shores to come down here. The best things about a Class 2, if they can get a lot of them, is if they do well as a Class 2, they only have to go back to the police academy for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
then they can become a full-time.
Yeah.
So this would be an opportunity to put them on the streets. Now, walking patrol itself, you would just, a lot of times you don't even have to do nothing, just walk, interact with the people, then the presence of the uniform
Exactly. Yep, I agree.
scares them away.
Well, and that's what I had a friend of mine who's an attorney from Wildwood, and he came up, this is a couple of years ago, and he went to Winfield's, had dinner, and then went to the Levoy. So he said he didn't see any special officers at all, and he was walking to his car and he got panhandled, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
And he said, it wasn't anything big, but he was saying how important it is when you have 400, 500, 600, 700 people at the Levoy. You would think you would have some type of a walking presence,
Right.
so people see you or Lance or any of the ones that were there. The thing that disappointed me over the period of time, 25 years ago, we probably had quite a few specials, right?
Yes.
But when I left, we were down to you and Lance and Sills. I don't think, maybe there was somebody else, or maybe this Watson guy, I didn't know him.
Well, Watson was a, in the middle of my career there, he was a special, but he took a daytime job, he called it meter mating, but he would chalk the tires,
right.
see how
2
long he'd been.
hours.
Yeah,
Right,
and he would write down, and he had a whole book. Actually, Watson gave me a ticket.
Did he really?
Yes. I was doing court duty. I was parked at City Hall in the 2-hour limit parking.
Sure, right.
And I went to get in the truck. I seen the ticket, and I said, all right, I'll pay it. I shouldn't have been parking here. I went to my truck at break and took my mail to the post office, come back, and never dawned on me. I wasn't thinking. I was thinking of court duty. Yeah. Steve wanted to wash it out. He said, let's go talk to Nieder, and I'll wash this out for you. And I was like, no. We don't need to go see Nieder. I'll pay the $40, and it'll be done and over with.
Yeah, it helped both of you.
Yeah, because I didn't need to listen to Nieder yell at me. So that's how I met Steve, and then he went from there. He went to the sewer plant.
Yeah.
And then now he's a supervisor at the Violent Sewer Plant.
Yeah, he's the assistant director there.
Yes.
How old is he? Do you know?
Steve told me when I met him, when we met again in the beginning of the year, he's about 34.
Okay.
Going to be 35. He has a 12-year-old daughter.
Oh, that's nice.
And I think he has another one, I don't know, between 4 and 6.
Do you have children, Bob?
I don't have any. I had stepkids I raised.
Well, I got to tell you good news. You'll live to be 100.
I'll live to be 100.
Well, I did this is a true story. When I was the mayor, we had about 14 people over those 12 years that hit the 100 mark. And of the 14, 10 of them had either never been married or didn't have any children.
Oh.
4 were, normal, but they had children. And this was funny. About a year ago, Mary Ella Morey, who lives in Morristown, she came on by way of Zoom. And she had just hit 101. So I said, and I knew she had been married to Jess Morey. I said, Mary Ellen, what do you attribute your longevity to? Not having kids? I said, okay, that goes along with my theory as well. So maybe you got something going there. This is a funny story, too. George Cuccia, who's our producer, he had an uncle, Frank, who turned 100 and never been married. Mm-hmm. So his niece called me and she said, "Jim, are you going to go see Uncle Frank?" I said, "Yeah." He was at the Veterans Home. I said, "I'm going to go up, going to take him the 100-year proclamation and all that stuff." So she said, "Would you do me a favor?" I said, "Sure, what's that?" She said, "Would you stop at McDonald's on your way and get him a hamburger and French fries?" That's his favorite food. And here he is, 100 years old, eating hamburger and French fries. He lived to be 106.
106. Wow.
Absolutely, yeah. So and we've got a woman I love. I don't know if you knew her from junior high school, Luella Dreyer. She's 102, 103, something like that. Sharp as a tack. Wonderful lady. So.
Yeah, I heard the name. I don't remember meeting her.
Yeah, she was probably there. So who was your favorite teacher?
Oh, I had a couple of them from being, most of them, like I said, I was in the special ed classes, but there was Darlene Cates, Diane Ewings.
Yeah, I remember Diane.
And Mr. Killian.
What was his first name, do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I always called him Mr. Killian.
Yeah.
He did pass away, though, recently.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, because I had one with my church.
I did have Mr. England. I don't know if he's watching, but he was my history teacher.
Okay.
So he gave us presidents that we had to do a report on.
Uh-huh.
So he gave me William McKinley. Well, I had William McKinley when I was in 4th grade.
Oh, okay.
So I took the report, and it was pretty well written. So I changed the cover, cut out the president, glued it in, and the pages were yellow. I didn't realize that. So I handed it in, and Mr. Killian says, "Mr. McQuade, come up here. I want to talk to you." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "This is a pretty good report." I said, "Well, thank you." He goes, "Well, why does this picture have like another piece of construction paper to it?" "Oh, I've messed up and recut it and stuck it back on there." He says, "That's good." I said, "Well," he said, "why are the papers yellow?" "Oh, I had old paper." Right? I had an answer for everything. So then he goes, "Well, this grade's on the back. I didn't put that there." And it says grade B, a B minus.
Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry, B plus.
Okay.
And he's like, "I didn't put that there. And this isn't my name here either as the teacher." I said, "I'm busted." I was in my 12th grade year. I was trying to get over on him. Of course, I had to pick another president and do a report.
Well, we're going to be back with more with Bob McQuade. We're going to talk about something I know he loved and put a lot of effort into was the Millville School Board. And we'll be back to talk about that and much more right after these messages.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
In South Jersey, we do things our own way. We say things out loud, face things head on, and never back down. And that's how we fight cancer. With the most advanced diagnostics, leading-edge technology, and a team of doctors who know how to treat your cancer. And most importantly, we do it right here at the Frank and Edith Scarpa Cancer Center, Vineland, and the Leading Edge Cancer Center, Mullica Hill.
I'm Brian Lankin, 3rd generation business owner, Al Shoes. Been at the same location since 1961, our 61st year. We specialize in work boots, work shoes, orthopedic shoes, baby walking shoes, and school shoes. We go up to a men's 17 and a woman's 13. It's $5 off 25 and 10 off 100 if you mention that you've seen this.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Later.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guest is former City Commissioner Bob McQuade. He had about a year's period of time, right?
Yeah, 11 months.
11 months. And Bob took the position that I vacated. And I will say, to the city commissioner's credit, the person that deserved that appointment was Bob. He finished 6th, and they did unanimously support him as the city commissioner. And you had the Public Works Department?
Yeah, I had the streets and roads, mainly because Suey was upgrading the sewer plant, and he wanted control of that right now because he's in part of the financing for that. There's a lot that needs to be built and fixed on that.
Yeah.
And then the water department, we kind of shared together.
Gotcha. Well, plenty of streets and roads in Millville, that's for sure.
We got a lot of stuff done. We got curb painting, and they weren't going to do it, but I convinced them we need to paint the curbs. And we did areas that we had enough paint for around the junior high and senior high, and all over city we were painting the curbs.
Good.
We got the potholes filled in.
That's great.
Gutters cleaned out.
Well, now that you're no longer city commissioner, you and Mike are out there all the time picking up TVs.
Yes.
So, I mean, I just really respect you and Mike both for that. I mean, that is a wonderful service. And, where did you get this empathy where you're so good to everybody? Is
David,
that from Mom and Dad?
I don't know. I've always been that way. When I was a kid, my mother and father would be selling life insurance at night. So there was quite a few elderly people in my neighborhood that couldn't cook. So me and my girlfriend at the time, we cooked up dinners and took it to them every night.
Jeez, that's
and it just kind of branched out from there. And then, David Ennis had a thing where he couldn't get the televisions because they didn't have enough manpower, which at the time I didn't understand until I got in there. There was actually like 10 people in streets and roads. It's not really enough because 2 of them are picking up bags and loose grass all day long.
Right.
2 of them are in the landfill.
Yeah, right.
And there leaves 6.
Yeah.
And they're collecting your leaves right now. So I took it upon myself to start with the TVs, and I had a friend at first, was Tyler. And Tyler was sort of homeless. I gave him a place to stay, and he helped pick up the televisions. Fortunately, he passed away. Mike jumped in. So sometimes we forget people. They text us, and we forget because we get so many that come out. Yeah. But Mike's pretty good at trying to keep it all organized. But Mike turned it into a nonprofit where we could get donations and get grants so we can take some of the homeless people that are in need of money and be able to pay them to come out with us to pick up televisions and have groups so we can do more work.
That would be super.
Because we're trying to get them off the streets.
Yeah.
And, and they're a lot of them are on High Street in different areas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I volunteered a few times for the, down at the Hope Center now it's called.
Right.
And I met some very nice people, just down on their luck. Several of them were, and, that type of thing.
Some of them were truck drivers or construction workers or stuff that ended up with injuries.
Yeah.
And they get taken off the pain pills, and it goes...
And it goes to the other stuff.
Whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
But if we could help them with that would be great.
It sure would be. Let's go talk about the school board now. How long ago were you elected to the school board?
I actually ran for school board 2012. I was the candidate-elect for 2 weeks. And then Connie Johnson's provisional votes came back in, and she beat me by 1 vote.
Oh, my goodness.
I was mad.
Yeah, I can understand. That's frustrating. Wow.
I went to Superior Court. Mary was my campaign manager.
Uh-huh.
We brought it up to Gloria Noto.
Mm-hmm.
She took us to the judge, Judge Johnson.
Yep.
He looked at it and said it did look fishy. So he granted a recount. Uh-huh. It was $500. So I gave him a check for $500. Mm-hmm. By the time I got from the county courthouse back to my residence on 6th Street, it had went up to $2,500 because they were going to count it on a weekend. The votes, and they said it would cost more.
Oh my God!
So I just said, you know what? Wow. Just forget this. Just let it go.
Jeez.
Give it to her. So Connie took the seat, and then
she was an incumbent. Too,
she was an incumbent. Yeah,
you got to understand. It's hard to beat an incumbent when you're running. Yeah.
Wow. But it was only 1 vote.
Oh my God, Bob! Wow.
That's what made the judge like 1 vote. But
every vote counts, folks.
And we were. What amazes me? Even I talked to Suey about this too. Every commission candidates that run during the time the school boards does, commissioners always are under 3,000, but school boards are over 3,000.
That's something.
Like 1 year I got 3,672 or something. One year, 3,001. I know that one was me. But this year was the same thing. And even though it was just me and Watson running, he got like 2,946, I believe, and I was 2,397. So we still didn't break over 3,000. So we're still trying to figure that out. Like, what was the issue? How could that be?
Yeah.
Or maybe people just don't care enough.
People, Bob, it's amazing. I look at different wards and districts. I remember Ward 1, District 1, one of the times I ran for city commission, and it was when I got elected mayor. I was the top vote getter with 40 votes out of hundreds of people who lived. The turnout is terrible in some of those areas. And that's something that's interesting, too, because the last couple of years have been the red wave. So, the Republicans have done very, very well. And the registered Democrats don't go out as much to vote. And that would have been a Democratic district where I got the 40 votes. And then what you have also is that the presidential year is when you'll see the most votes because people do go out to vote for the president. But other than that, it's called an off-year election. This year was an off-year election. You had the two county commissioners, two Republicans running and two Democrats running, one incumbent on each side. And then, of course, Victoria Lodes beat Darlene Barber, so now the Republicans have taken over. And next year, the Republicans will continue to have control because the three people that are up for election next year are all Democrats. And again, it's an off-year election because it's not the presidential election. Right. So that's the way those things seem to go. And to Mike Testa and the Republicans' credit, they have done very, very well in the past several years. In Cumberland County, there are 14 municipalities, ladies and gentlemen. Of the 14, 11 are Republican-led. From Vineland, Millville, Marsher. My friend Kenny Wilden in Marsher, he was smart. He had been a Democrat. He was the mayor. He flipped the Republican. He's still the mayor. Smart move, Kenny. Smart move. But just about every municipality, except for Bridgeton, Fairfield, and my buddy Mike Vizard in Commercial Township, won by 50 votes, I think. So they're the only three that have Democrat leadership. And years back, it used to be the reverse. It was more Democrats than Republicans. But timing, and I think that red wave where people were frustrated, a lot of people don't like Biden, and that stir up the thing that Trump's done to, get everybody stirred up about maybe getting out to vote or whatever it may be. So it's been interesting. In Millville, and I ran with a team of 5 Democrats. Now, you guys weren't really a team, were you? But you sort of hung
not
together.
Really. I had picked my petitions up first, and then I told Suey and Bill Davis, and then they went and got theirs. Davis decided not to run.
Yeah, as I said, I think you ran.
I kind of threw mine off to the side, too, because I wasn't really going to run them because I was my mom was sick a lot, too. So I think that had to do with her COVID getting her.
That's a good point.
So I threw it off to the side. I wasn't going to run, but Commissioner Kurt Hewitt called me and wanted to pick him up and start getting going. So he called me August 1st. So I got them all done, 350 some signatures in 27 days.
Wow, that's super.
Pounding on the doors
that's
around
Union Lake. That's a lot of signatures.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
It was
myself.
an everyday thing.
Yeah.
So, and then I lost it anyway. But
but you get
not by
close
much
enough to get appointed at least for almost a year.
So
was good.
It was interesting because these aren't my first time running though, because I ran in 2005 as a newbie.
Okay.
Against Bill Harmon when he ran for City Commission 2005.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought Bill ran for school board. I didn't know he ran.
Yeah, he ran for commission one time in 2005. He lost.
97, 2000. Okay, yeah, 2005.
Yeah.
That was my last year as mayor.
Because he was running, and then after that, I ran for freeholder twice against Joe Pepitone as an independent.
Who's become one of your best friends.
Yes. we actually were pretty good friends when we were running. Of course, Lou Magazine didn't like me running there because he told me that I was a Democrat then. I'm a Republican now.
Yeah.
But
you saw the light.
Yes. Well, yeah. I did, because Lou made me really see the light. We were arguing back and forth. We battled, and he wanted me to drop out, and I said, no, why? What's in it for me if I drop out?
Yeah.
Because I already spent $500 and stuff. He said, well, I'll make you a county committeeman. I said, what is that? That doesn't sound very great. So I told him, nah, I'm going to continue to run. So what made Lou really mad was I put them on my signs, because Jane Christie and Peterson did the same thing the year later. Independent Democrat.
I do remember that period of time.
That made Lou mad. But then from there on, and the Republican Party, Jim Swift was judge at the time. He asked me if I would be interested in joining the Republican Party, because my views were more Republican.
Especially now that you're living in the wealthy area of Millville.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Swift's a great guy. Judge Swift's one of my favorite people.
Yes.
He's a wonderful man.
He lives
really
back there, too.
Yes, he does. That's why I say,
And so I joined it, and then I've been running that ever since. And I went to school board. Was there 9 years. Ran 3 times.
Wow, that's
9
fantastic.
Years. It would have been 10 years if I stayed this year. And I would have been up for election, actually, this year for school board.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because
now, do you think you want to run for school board again?
I'm going to run.
Okay,
I'm going to run again. I like keeping and I like working with the school board. Actually, I kind of like the school board a little better than I did the city commission. It's not so much politics in there. It's even politics within the employees.
Yeah.
So I like that.
You were part of the group that hired Tony Tronco.
Yes.
Tell you what, great guy. You guys did a super job.
Tony has I know a lot of people don't agree what he's doing, but it's going to take some time. But he's restructuring the school system, and that's going to take time and some money to restructure this. But we need to get our grades up. And
absolutely.
The grades are moving. When I was there, and I believe it's still the same, Lakeside was the worst school.
Yeah.
And it's not so much for the education, because that falls with this category I'm going to bring up, is the violence that was going on at Lakeside.
Yeah, and something he brought up that I never thought about, Bob, and you certainly, having been a police officer, would think about too. That wasn't built as a school. That was an office.
That was an office.
The hallways weren't wide enough for the kids, and they're shoving into each other. So they did redo that, where they're sort of keeping them in quads, so they're not having to go from one end of the school to the other and all that. Of course, that's a tough age group. I taught 7th grade, and 7th and 8th graders are tough age group to deal with. The best grade I loved was like 4th grade. Those kids were super. They were just kids. They were great.
Right. 4th
and 5th were pretty good. But then as you get into that
puberty, they start getting more opinionating.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just part of the system. But I know. I mean, you and Charlie Flickinger, Mike Wilden, Joe Pepitone. Now, of course, I got Debbie Malone, who's a good friend of mine, that are on there. You got Rick Cotton on there now. You got
he replaced me.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, he took my seat.
Okay. And so at least you got some good people there. And I think the world of Tony Trongone. And when Debbie told me you guys were hiring him several years ago, I didn't know. She said you were going to be very impressed. And let me tell you, folks, he is the head of the entire superintendents for the state of New Jersey. He's the president of them. He goes all over to represent, not us, but the state as well. And very highly respected. We're going to have a brand new field and new field house. The nice thing, too, Bobby's going to do is replace that barbed wire or whatever that fence is with the what do you call it? The nice
chain link fence around there?
Wrought iron.
Yeah.
Wrought iron, the black wrought iron, which will be classy looking as well. And how about those Thunderbolts, huh? State champs.
Oh, God, yes.
That's fabulous.
That was a good game.
It sure was. I got to go. We weren't allowed to do it on TV, but we were allowed to do it on radio, so we had a lot of people listen to us doing the game. I think Saturday we'll be able to put the audio together with a video.
Oh, okay, good.
Because I wanted to get that done so we could give each one of the kids
right.
a free DVD that they can keep forever.
Because they were talking about with the football field we were talking about. We got usually just they're allowed to keep for the year $5 million in the account.
Right.
They can just it's within the maintenance account, and you can spread that out for maintenance, or if you need more money for health insurance and stuff, they can pull it out. But they have to usually use most of that up before they get funded again from the state.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people were upset when they heard the price of what the field could cost, but they're not taking all that money out at one shot. Right. They're going to do the field first.
Yeah, right.
Make it a nice area for the kids, and then eventually they're going to hopefully they'll get a indoor sport.
They're talking a field house.
Field house for them,
right,
yes.
Bob. Yeah.
So
and the good thing that Tony Trongone brought up was Bridgeton has had the artificial turf field now for like 12 or 13 years. Vineland's had it for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Millville doesn't have it. And as much as Millville loves their football, and it's something that's good for the kids. It's safer. It's good for rain and all those kind of things. And with especially as good as our kids are, as fast as they are with the artificial turf, they'll even be faster. So,
yes.
And I'll tell you what. Coach Ayala's done a great job. Dennis Thomas did a great job. By the way, Millville was just ranked today as the 5th best team in the state of New Jersey. Of course, they are the first time ever Group 4 state champions. This was the first year we ever had a total state championship. Last year they won Central and South Jersey, and that was the maximum you could go. But this year they beat Northern Highlands to win the entire state of New Jersey. So
yes.
It's quite a tribute.
They had a nice celebration coming down High Street when they came back with the police bringing them escort.
That was nice. In fact, I was on the way. Tony and I went up together, so he was on the phone, and we're on our way back from Rutgers. But it was just a great opportunity. A lot of people came up. And speaking of the football team, we'd be remiss too, Bob, if we didn't talk about the band. The Millville High School band is first class. They're fantastic. They keep winning competition, and they've done very well as well. As we.
My stepdaughters were in there in the band. They were the color
that's
guards.
Fantastic.
And their biggest competition was Willenboro band. They were huge back then.
Yeah.
They might have had almost 150 kids in their band. I mean, they took the whole football field up.
Yeah.
And I saw them just I don't know, a couple of years back now. They maybe they're lucky they had 50 in there now.
There's something. Yeah, Bob DeSantis has done a great job getting the numbers up to well over 100. And again, they do a really, really nice job. So we'll be back to wrap up with Bob McQuade, who has been a Millville City Commissioner, a longtime school board member, a special police officer, besides working a regular job where he made a living down at NAFAC and the civilian department. So we'll be back to talk more with Bobby right after these messages.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
When you want delicious food made from scratch soups and locally sourced ingredients, you head to Larry's 2 on Main Road in Vineland, New Jersey. Family owned and operated, Larry's 2 boasts one of the area's only salad bars with a great selection of fresh vegetables, rolls, dressings, and more. In their cafe, enjoy a piping hot cup of your favorite beverage made by one of their skilled baristas. Their complimentary Wi-Fi allows Larry's 2 to be the meeting destination with a friend or small group. They also offer banquet rooms that can accommodate 10 to 120 guests for any occasion. Open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Call Larry's 2 today at 856-692-9001. Larry's 2 Restaurant and Cafe, located at 907 North Main Road in Vineland, New Jersey.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. Bob McQuade, former Millville City Commissioner for the year just about that took the spot that I vacated, and I give the commissioners credit that Bob finished 6th, and I gave him that spot. And then he ran against Stephen Watson in November, and to my shock, I didn't know Stephen Watson. I thought for sure Bobby was going to win, but to Stephen's credit, he did. Congratulations to Steve Watson. And this way, Bobby can get back on the school board and keep those people going and doing the good things there.
They actually didn't want me to leave when they were taking me. They wanted me to stay. I said,
"No, I know."
I told them a few days ago. I talked to a couple of them. I said, "Yeah, I should have listened. I should have stayed."
Yeah, Tony Troncone spoke highly of you too.
I'll be running for city school board this November.
Yeah.
I'll put my hat on the plate, and I told them, watch out, because in November of 2025, I'm going to put my name back out again for city commission.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
So I think there's some things that can be done here still, and we had some stuff moving forward, and I hope it continues to move forward.
Yeah, that's good.
Sometime this month, it's supposed to be, because I went to arbitration for it, the factory over here, the old Wheaton factory, should be coming down. I don't know when, because it should have came down in October. There is bulldozers in there, so we'll see what happens, because that's gonna. If there's a time frame, and if it doesn't come back, it doesn't come down during that time frame, it comes back to the city.
Yeah, and I see what happens, but that will be nice once that's taken down. You know, we haven't really talked about your wife and your stepchildren. What's your wife's name?
Carol McQuade, which her maiden name was Carol Thurston.
Okay.
My stepkids, I have two stepsons that are Donald and Anthony Campbell. You have Jennifer Campbell. Then I have from a fiance. We never got married, but I raised her daughters since they were 5 and 6.
Oh, that's nice.
We have Crystal Maines and Sheena Maines, which is now Crystal Hartfield.
Oh,
her husband passed away a few years back,
gosh.
41 with an aneurysm.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So she's raising 4 kids on her own.
Wow.
She does have a fiance, but she's not sure she's getting married yet. And the other one, Sheena, she has 3 kids, divorced, but she's doing well.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. That's nice. And have you moved into your parents' house?
I moved in there, yes. I still own the house on 6th Street. Donald is paying the mortgage.
Okay.
And
that's where I used to come visit you on 6th Street.
Yes, 6th Street.
Yeah, that's right. I thought across from Barbara Morrow.
Yes.
Yeah. Betty.
Yes.
Mom, Betty McCarston.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
McCarthy, I think it is.
Well, I don't know. But anyway.
She was a school teacher. And then, it's fun. I moved over there. I used to be over there every night anyway, taking care of my parents.
Right.
I had a lot of stuff to do with them. And
yeah.
My dad was very active. My mom was more, didn't like getting older. Didn't like the face changing. So she had a couple facelifts done here and there. But
yeah, God bless her.
Yeah, she did it. But she wouldn't, she was more in the house. My dad was outside. And before he passed away with COVID, he was cutting down trees in the yard.
Wow.
So, I mean, he was he was 78. And he was doing all that stuff.
That's amazing. Well, he was a great worker. That's why you were a good worker. And,
they owned the Fairfield Insurance Office, he did, with my brother Craig McQuade.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
So Craig works for Bordora Bakery that's in Vineland.
Sure, yes.
He's the sales manager.
Wow, that's great. So I know you and Mike, you've talked about, and I think that's a great idea, where you go out and pick up the TVs for people. And if you could give the homeless an opportunity to come out and pick them up. And then, I think most people, God, I'd be thrilled to pay $25 or $50 to have you take away my TV and then, make it out to whatever the nonprofit is that you get started with. And that way, in fact, I'll put you in touch with some people from the M25 program. Maybe there's something that they could do, maybe make it a county-wide thing.
Yeah, because we're looking to branch out. We help a lot of people out.
Yeah.
And we don't charge anything. We even carry their brush away, and it's a great program we're doing. Now that I have this year, maybe a year and a half before the next election, I'm concentrating on this because to do it right, we got to have a board, at least 3 people on the board, but I want to have maybe 7.
Yeah, you want to have an odd number.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want it more like important people within the city that a lot of people know, but some citizens too. So I wanted to. I might get a round table of citizens that might want to come in and help decide on a board for us. And then, like you said, M25 initiatives, they work with them.
Right.
Because if some of them have driver's license and we could get more trucks, we could go help more people.
That's true. Yeah.
So, like I said, because the city doesn't have enough money to get all these streets and roads
Now,
guys out there.
let's talk about if you come to Joe Pepitone's house and pick up a TV for him.
Right.
Where do you go with that TV?
It goes down the streets and roads.
Okay,
In
15th
Street.
Okay.
But we can also take them to county, because county will take them for free.
Gotcha. So,
So-
that I guess eventually once you go to Streets and Roads takes them to the county.
Right.
So
Right now, I'm just using my truck. I have 2 trucks. A little black one that's for brush, and then my bigger truck we do the TVs in, and we don't charge them anything. It's a service we like to provide to
Yeah.
people. You know, we're using my gas, my truck, and
Yeah.
everything, but
And
I
you're-
like helping people.
yeah. Well, I see it all the time on Facebook, and I'm proud of you and Mike for all the efforts that you're doing. There's no hidden agenda. You're just doing it because you like to help people.
Right.
Yeah, which is a good gift that you got from your parents passed down
Yes.
to you. And, I think that's why if you know Bob, you like Bob because, he's not got any hidden agenda. He's just there to help people and do what you can do. And I know you've done a lot of things on the school board where you've been very helpful too and supportive of, the administration and what needs to be done there.
Right. Yeah, because I'm an open book. I mean, I don't hide anything, and I'm out. I'm a people person.
Yes, you are.
You have
Yeah.
a question, you
Yeah.
ask me, and I
Yeah.
mean, you can find out anything you
Yeah.
want. So
I got to tell you something, Bobby. I was so proud of you that New Year's Eve where some things went askew. But I was at Bojo's that night, and I watched you in action, and you helped save a big brawl. I mean, you got involved,
Right.
with that going on and stuff. And I mean, I was like, wow, Bobby, you're a brave man, to do that and to try to quell things that were going out of control,
that was weird. It was New Year's Day of 2019, and I was actually sitting at my mother's house watching the ball fall.
Uh-huh.
My dad was in the hospital.
I see.
He was sick. I was going home, and Tyler at that time, he was at Bojo's drinking and having a good time.
Okay.
And I think he was there with Pepitone. He knew you were
Yeah,
there.
right. I was broadcasting
Yeah.
live from there. Yeah. that's
And with Mayor Santiago.
Yes,
So I had pulled up, and as soon as I pulled up, I called him and said, "I'm out front. Come on out." As soon as I pulled up, this herd of people come running out.
right. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, "What's going on?" And Tyler said that they're fighting inside. They brought it out. I said, "Well, get in the truck." He says, "I got to go get my wallet. I left it in with Joe." So he went to go get his wallet. Somebody punched Tyler in the head.
Oh my God.
Then somebody punched my truck. So I yelled at everybody to get the hell out of the road.
Right. Yeah.
They all moved and got back up on the sidewalk. And somebody said, "Oh, Bobby, you're a cop." I said, "No, I'm retired. I don't
Yeah.
do special anymore." So the officer came up. It was an officer. I don't know who it was. And the bouncer had somebody on the ground, and they handcuffed him.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So I asked the officer, I said, "Well, since he's already got custody of him, that guy there hit my buddy in the head, and he punched a dent in my truck. I'd like to get him and press charges." So he just looked at me and says, "I'm not going after him." I said, "Well, I'm going to go after him,
Oh.
and I'm going to make a citizen's arrest." So I went after him. Turned out the police said they were hollering at me to stop. I never heard them.
Right.
I almost had the guy,
Chaos going on.
but I slipped and fell because I have a bad ankle. And after that, they did what they did.
Yeah.
It was all malarkey.
Yeah, it was because I was there and I know you were trying to help and I didn't know
Right.
about Tyler getting hit in the head and all that kind of stuff, but I knew something bad was happening
Right.
and you were trying to intervene. You know?
Well, most people don't know they have the right to make a citizen's arrest
Sure.
because security, when you see them in the mall and they take people
Yeah.
they're making a citizen's arrest. You're allowed to hold them and detain them.
Right. Until
Until you have to call police though, and you
Right.
can't leave them once you detain them.
Right.
You have to stay with them.
Yeah.
But it was funny because the officer told me that was down there, "Oh, there's no such thing as citizen's arrest." I said, "Well, you better call the state police then, because that's who I'm licensed with as a private security officer."
I see. You knew.
So we went from that, and it blew over. But
Yeah.
I think there's still something out there on Facebook. School board member impersonates police officer. It is.
Yeah, but I saw what was going on, and I know you were very helpful
Right.
and you cared. Bobby, it's great to have you
Nice.
in, buddy.
Nice to
Next
be
time
here.
you got to bring Mike with us.
I will. I'll bring Mike. We'll talk more about our volunteer stuff.
Yeah, maybe we can get the thing going with the nonprofit and that type of stuff.
That would be
I'll talk
nice,
to
yeah.
some people that are in M25.
Yeah, I'd like to get a lot of the money in
Right,
these
and
people's
help the
pockets.
homeless people too. Yeah, that'd be.
That's
really
what I want to get them off
Yeah,
the street.
Exactly. Bob McQuade, former Millville City Commissioner, school board member, special police officer, and an all-around good guy, has been our guest this evening on Around South Jersey. And we thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Thanks, George Kachia, for producing the show. For Bob McQuade, I'm Jim Quinn. Have a good night. See you now.
Thank you.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.